January 22nd, 2019. Shall we stand to pledge allegiance?
Roll call, Mr.
Oh.
Chair. Yeah.
Roll call
Yeah. Yes.
ahead of time? Okay.
Chair Green.
Chair, here.
Okay, Member Beamer,
Here.
Member Evans,
Here.
Member Stewart, Member Thompson,
Here.
a quorum is present.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I don't know about the rest of you, but I had an extremely busy holiday. So being in this smaller room with fewer people is nice because it won't. I'm still resting. This is the public comment period, and we have no public here, so I guess we will dispense with that part.
Where's C?
Yeah, I know. It's fishing somewhere. Item number 4, approval of the minutes from the meeting of November 1st. Has everybody had a chance to go over them? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Motion.
Oh, I gotta call for the motion
Yeah.
first. Okay, that's more than.
So moved.
So moved, okay. Motion.
Is there a second?
Madam
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item number 5, the adoption of the agenda for tonight. Are there any, did everybody get a chance to go over it? And are there any changes that anybody would like to make at this point on that?
No changes from me. I'd move if you're ready for that.
I am.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay, disclosures. Any member of the advisory board may inform the chair of his intent to make the disclosures of a conflict of interest on an agendized item or relative to the advisory board business. Disclosures of conflicts of interest must also be made at the time of a specific agenda item is introduced. Do we have any disclosures to be open? Okay. Moving on to agenda item number 7, update on the activity report on the Carson Urban Wildlife Committee. Mr. Beamer, do you have a?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I appreciate the opportunity. So, you know, throughout the last, since we met last, you know, we went through the rut season. To my knowledge, there have not been any issues with urban deer during the rut season. Seemed like there was a lot of deer down here, but we didn't have any reported to the division nor to the Carson City Sheriff's Department. There was a report of a deer getting hit, I think either on Carson Street or on Stewart Street. I couldn't remember which one, but that was unfounded. They didn't find the actual deer that supposedly got hit. So just the one thing that, you know, the next thing we kind of have to worry about is with the public is the antler shed season is going to be coming right around the corner here in the next month or two. And, you know, I know that the department has put out some communications on antler sheds, and just for the purpose of this being recorded in the event that somebody is listening. You know, it is unlawful for people to, members of the community to pressure deer or anything like that to get their antlers to shed. We have some dandies here in Carson City, and you know, there's always that people wanting to get some of those awesome antlers to be able to have for themselves. And we need to remind everybody to be ethical when it comes to that. And if they do get caught doing that, I know the local game wardens are very much aware of activities that are going on here in our town, and if they do get, they do notice that, they will cite you for sure. So we just want to make sure that the public knows about that. I don't know about any outreach that we could really do there. I've asked the folks from NDOW that kind of head up the urban and wildlife if they could do maybe a PSA on, when they're doing their PSA on, or their podcast on shed antler hunting, if maybe they could just mention that, and they assured me that they would do that. So other than that, the waterfowl season has gone great, and here in Carson City, we are seeing a huge amount of Canadian geese populate a lot of the parks and grassy areas here in the city. And in the past, we've had issues with archers going out, or people trying to shoot geese with archery with bows and arrows and stuff. And a reminder that we have a city ordinance here in town that prevents any kind of discharge of a firearm or bow, which is in that mix. They changed that, so here in the city limits. So other than that, I don't really have anything else to report. I know that the Boy Scouts, a couple of the Boy Scout groups were wanting to do a bird study merit badge in the wintertime. We scheduled that, and we had to cancel it because the weather was just too poor, and so we never rescheduled that. But other than that, I think that's all I have to report.
Okay, very good. I do know in my neighborhood out there off of Arrowhead, of 2 deer which were hit and got up and ran away. So,
Yeah.
Both by local people in the neighborhood. So, and so they weren't, the local people don't tend to drive 80 miles an hour like the non-locals do.
Yeah.
So when they hit them, they just got up and ran away. So, but they were hit right there on, one was on Arrowhead and the other one was on Emerson, right there in that intersection area. So, any other comments?
No, there's been, just seeing a lot of increase in coyotes up on the west side, which seems to be more traditional on the east side. But we've located quite a few kills, mule kills, which are, I'm assuming are coyote, but they're, I don't know if you heard about the reports of the mountain lion up in Lakeview.
I didn't hear about that.
And actually some locals actually took some pictures of mountain lions actually using the trail extension from the B&T.
Oh, perfect.
Through the area, but yeah.
This might be a good place because of the urban issue. The mountain lion population is increasing considerably in a couple of areas. It's especially in the northern Washoe County areas. The wild horses have increased in population, and they're a lot easier for a mountain lion to capture than a deer. And so the mountain lion population is increasing. So and I'm sure that will spread farther south and especially eastward from here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any other comments? Okay, moving on to item number 8. We have items A through K. These items listed under this consent agenda are considered routine and may be acted upon by the advisory board to manage wildlife with one action and without extensive hearing. A member of the advisory board may request an item to be pulled for separate discussion and action, but the advisory board chair retains discretion in deciding whether or not to pull an item from the consent agenda. For additional information on these items considered within this action, please visit Nevada Department of Wildlife. And it gives the meeting agenda, and I think we all get copies of the agenda anyway for their meeting. We have items 8A through pardon me? L. Do any of the board members wish to pull any of those items at this time?
Well, it's more than 8A through F.
L.
It's 8A through 8L, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So for the purpose of discussion, I would like to poll, Mr. Chair. Bear with me, I didn't mark the number down, I apologize.
It's all right.
I'd like to poll, and just for the purpose of discussion, to see if anybody has anything on, because there's been a lot of changes in the seasons, and I just wanted to make sure that we went over the appendixes on 18A. Hold on a second, let me make sure. Trying to correspond this with the,
Our number?
yeah, hold on a second here. So I would like to pull 8B. Deadlines. And then, let's see here. And 8J, which is the bear hunt,
Uh-huh.
those two.
Okay. Any others? All right.
I have none.
Okay, so we will consider all other items as approved as written. Do I need to take a vote on that now or at the end?
At the end, we'll do it.
Okay, well, let's move on to 8B then.
Did we accept the rest of the agenda?
Either way, it's up to you, Mr. Chair. If you want to accept the rest of the agenda now.
Yeah, let's just get that out of the way, and anything, all of the agenda items we'll agree to approve of and accept, with the exceptions of 8B and J at this time.
So I would move that we accept and support all of the consent agenda items except for 8B and 8J. That we support that and relay that to the Department of Wildlife Commission.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And it's approved. Now we'll move on up to 8B.
So
8B is on regulation 19-05, and it is the game seasons. And this has to do with the dates and the hours. I'll read it. It's on January 25th and 26th meeting, the Board of Wildlife Commissioners will consider and may take action to adopt the 2019-20 and the 2020 and 21 hunting seasons and dates for mule deer, pronghorn antelope, elk, bighorn sheep, mountain goat, including limits, hunting hours, special hunt eligibility, animal gender, physical characteristics, hunt boundary restrictions, legal weapon requirements, and emergency depredation, hunt structure, and statewide quotas.
Okay.
Mr. Beamer.
So the main reason I wanted to pull this is a kind of a new format for the division. Usually they don't give us, usually we have to ask somebody to come here and help us understand the rationale. I like this. They actually gave us a rationale for season amendments, right? So we at least have some sort of idea, so we're not wasting everybody's time coming here, right? So I just wanted to make sure that all of us had a chance to review this. There, you can see that there's a lot of seasons that they're consolidating, if you will, right? As well as some new seasons that they're creating. When I went through here and initially I saw all these closed seasons, I'm like, what the heck is going on here? And I could see the rationale why they're closing those seasons. I don't particularly have any concerns at all, but I did want to make sure that the board was able to kind of review this. You know, the seasons around here and the areas around here with regard to mule deer, really, are the 190, 194, 196, well, really 194 is the only, and then also part of 231 as well, I believe, which
Yes.
encompasses the pine nuts, and we have a portion of that.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't know, I talked to Carl Lackey on the phone, and he informed me he had already gotten solicited by Story County to go up there, which I think is great because they're a struggling board, you know, and it's good for those guys to get up there and try and show support to them. But he told me that they pretty much kept them the same. This confirms that. There's really no changes to that quota, if you will. The seasons, if you will. They still have the late archery season. If you guys, I don't know if you noticed that or not. We have a late archery season here, which I think is kind of cool. And because there's a lot of folks from our bow club here locally that like to hunt that late archery season, and I've talked to a few of them, and they wanted us to support continuing to have that. Some of them drew this year and were very successful and had great hunts, and so I was pleased to see that. So with that, unless anybody has any objections, I would move to support the recommendations made by the department for 8B as well. And just hopefully you guys understand a lot of the changes have been predicated by the wildland fires and stuff that we've had, not only in northern Washoe, but over in the east as well, and northeast as well. And so I think they did a great job at really kind of assessing that and making sure they got rid of some of the multi-season hunts in the same area where they're back to back, to kind of try and spread that pressure out a little bit, which I thought was great. A lot of complaints up in Area 6 and Area 7, boy, oof. So anyway, I mainly wanted to bring this up for discussion. Unless there's any discussion, I'm prepared to move to support it.
I agree too. The bow hunters and the largest number of hunters we have in the Carson area are bow hunters. And I know they were very happy with it. I've talked to 2 or 3 of them, and they all hunted that late season.
Yeah.
Which is wonderful for them, and they were very successful. So I agree with you 100%. Any comments from you guys?
No, not at all. I aim to just support them.
Okay, yeah, I know we sometimes the bow hunters, when you go to the in-down meetings, the bow hunters always seem to be shoved to the back. They don't seem to be as important, but there's just as many of them, and they're spending just as much money. And it's kind of nice in this area that they do get, I think, better treatment than they do in a lot of the other areas.
So I could just say that I was lucky enough to draw one of those tags, and I can tell you that I'd say probably 9 out of 10 hunters that I encountered were not even from Northern Nevada. They're all from either Las Vegas, had one non-resident from Utah, had folks from down in Caliente and even down in Ely and White Pine County, which really surprised me. But this is a pretty sought after area, especially for a archery hunt.
Like December is when that hunt goes on, isn't it?
Yeah, December 1 to January 1.
Yeah, that's been going for a number of years, so.
Not for, I think, the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I remember I put in for it.
Yeah.
I think some of those out of area hunters that come here though, it becomes the family ski vacation for some of the family, while some of the family's enjoying the hunt. So it's kind of kind of a
That
unique
could
thing
be.
for our area. We get the income from two directions there. It's a good financial. Okay, do I have we have a motion for Mr. Beamer to move, to support item 8B. Do I have a second?
Second that.
We have a second, and all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So moved. 8B is done. I'm gonna move on up here to 8J. This is a pretty good one too, because we all, I don't know if you guys have, you will, if you haven't already heard from people concerning the bear hunts. 8J is regulation 19-03, our black bear seasons. At the January 25 and 26, 2019 meeting, the Board of Commissioners will consider and may take action to adopt 2019 hunting season dates, open management units, hunting hours, special regulations, animal gender, legal weapon requirements, hunt boundary restrictions, and dates and times for indoctrination for black bear. Mr. Beamer.
So the one thing I just wanted to point out here is that, let's see here. Is that in 2018, again, so we've never really had a season where we have filled quota, right? It just
Yeah.
never happened, right?
We don't even come close.
But even this year, again, in 2018, 14 bears were harvested, 11 of them were males, 3 of them were females that were non-lactating females. There weren't any issues. We did have I don't know if you guys heard, we did have a poaching case where a guy got mad and shot a bear up at his house over off of Franktown, stuffed it in a culvert, and we prosecuted that. I know Operation Game Thief issued a reward for that because of that. And this was a guy that really didn't hunt. He was a resident up there. He was just tired of the bears getting in his stuff and took matters into his own hands. And we don't tolerate that, man. We absolutely value our bear population. And I just want, anytime there's something like this that really affects our area, because really we're the one, our Carson City and a little bit of Washoe County is really the primary area, some of Douglas County, primary areas for the bear hunts, right? And I mean, this should be top concern for all of us. Anytime we have, we're setting limits or seasons, it's always good for us to review this. I think, it's kind of right in our backyard, like I said. And, but this again, I'm excited to see that every year they come back and they state that the parameters continue to indicate that the bear harvest in Nevada by lawful hunting remains light. And I think it's very proactive of the department to implement this season. Back when they did, we got a lot of pushback on it. For those of you that were new or may not have been, heard about all that, I was right in the middle of that. And I got to tell you that I think that the community handled it well. I think that the division definitely handled it well. Carl Lackey is one of those individuals that I regard as being an expert in the world of bears, right? And he continues to be that expert with other states as well and other groups. And he and his group, they do a great job, and there's a lot of volunteers that go out and help them. I think what they're proposing here is very much conservative. I absolutely sustain it. I think that we have to have a way of managing these black bears. California continues to put all their nuisance bears up at Lobdell Lake, which is the gateway to the Pine Nut Range, right? And then we're seeing bears that are coming over from Nevada County and Sierra counties, and they're traveling great distances to come into our area and habitat in our area. Something we saw way back in the 30s and 40s apparently, but haven't seen up until about the last 10 years. So I think this is very conservative. I didn't get any calls or any emails. Did you? Because I normally get
I get the same ones.
inundated.
I get from 3 people in Oregon. That's where mine come from.
Really?
Yeah, and I think. they
Opposed
send-
or proponent?
Oh, they're opposed to
Yeah.
everything. They don't,
Okay.
they want, I think they send the same email out to every state that has a bear hunt,
Okay.
for everybody they can find, you know, that kind.
Yeah.
So, I want to say too, our bear hunt stuff, we have, our method of bear hunting is conservative, but it's also one that promotes the growth of the bear population much more so than a lot of states. I mean, they kill 600 bears a year in Pennsylvania. And we have more bears killed by cars every year here than we do in harvesting. And just for your notice, we allow dogs. And what that does is it allows the hunters to hunt for trophy bears, many of which are too old to reproduce, but they're big. And where in the states where they don't allow the dogs, they just shoot the first bear they see, and many of them are reproducing bears. And our method stimulates growth in the population, doesn't stifle it. And he mentioned Carl Lackey. You know, if you talk about the book on bears, Carl's the guy that wrote the book on bears. He is, if you want, he is the man. And Pat Jackson here in the 3 years I've been associated with this thing, the guy has just absorbed things Carl has been teaching him. He's the next generation of that.
For sure.
Of that. So we are so fortunate to have those guys here. Our bear, if we could just get people to slow down on the highways and not hit them up, especially around Tahoe. You know, you got no business driving fast on an icy road anyway. And you hit a bear, it's not a pretty sight for either one of you.
No, it's not.
But I agree 100%. I'm very pro hunt the way we do it.
Yeah, I just want to, I'm glad you brought that up about the mere fact that, you know, these big Bruins, right, that can no longer produce offspring, right? We've proven that. And the problem is that when it comes to birthing seasons, they push other bears off. And so these females that are ripe, you know, that really need to be producing, sometimes don't get impregnated because of that. And so, you know, that's been proven that, you know, that's a great thing about having dogs and ethical hunting with dogs, right? I think for the most part, guides in our area are very ethical with the use of dogs and the treatment of them, and then also the treatment of the bears too. And I'm all for it, and I 100% support what's being proposed here, and I'm prepared to take a motion to support that.
Yeah, and I've never seen a guy who uses dogs, mistreat his dog. That's his income.
Yeah.
Whether it be bear dogs or the mountain lion dogs, and they're both trained differently.
And I believe the population is growing as well. I mean,
Yeah, it is.
there's quite a few more sightings down here on like the Carson River and places that you know, it all used to be pretty much west side. Now a lot of the eastern side is picking up here in town.
I think some of the sightings have to do with the population is growing. I think a lot of the bear areas were there, just nobody saw them because there weren't as many people out there.
One thing Carl shared with me last year, and I heard that it was absolutely the same this year, was that they had bears last year that they harvested, that they logged, that they have no data on whatsoever. And Carl literally, he thought, I have data on every bear in our area.
There was one that had like 3-year tags. We saw that one. And
So
Yeah,
we had another one go through Sportsman's parking lot last month. That was kind of fun to see.
Really?
Did anybody get a picture of it with Sportsman's in the background?
Not in the background,
You
but-
needed the store in the background, that's good.
little early in the
The
morning,
hospital.
2:30 in the morning, so.
Yeah, that's been quite a while ago.
But
That's great.
pretty
And a
neat to
coyote
see.
too,
Yeah.
an injured one.
Oh, wow. Too cool.
Okay,
So anyway, I'm prepared to
I will-
make a motion.
I will accept that motion.
I'll second that
And
motion.
we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Seconded.
I second it.
That concludes item 8, and we are supporting all parts of item 8. And we'll move on over to number 9. This is a non-regulatory agenda item. Other than this, excuse me, other than those items listed under the CAB consent agenda item 8, the remaining items are on the attached January 25th and 26th, 2019 Nevada Board of Wildlife Commissioners agenda typically require no action of the Carson City Advisory Board Management Wildlife. Occasionally, one or more advisory board members may have a desire to discuss these items, and such discussion may result in action in the form of advice or recommendation by this advisory board to the Nevada Board of Wildlife Commissioners. There will be no public comment unless action will be taken on an item. We have items A through F, I believe, here in 9. Yes. Would anybody like to poll any of those items? No.
I mean, I think what we needed, don't we have to take each one of these and, I mean, we don't have to take action on any of them,
No,
actually.
we don't have to take action,
I don't think we can treat it like a consent item, just because they're listed as as agenda item 9.
Well, that's because they're all the non-regulatory
Yeah.
agenda items. And I just wanted to know if we wanted to just move on or pull any of them for discussion. I have one I want to pull for discussion only.
Okay.
Does anybody else? I'm going to pull item 9C. And with no other comment, because we don't have to, we're not approving or disapproving this, I'll just move on to 9C. Is that correct?
That's great.
Okay. This is regarding the landowner compensation stuff. The meeting is coming up here on the 25th and 26th, and over the last 3 meetings, there's been a lot of discussion over this landowner stuff. If you guys want to, I just want to let you know, this is one of the most interesting situations that can become a real mess I've seen within Dow, and it's simple little things like, if you get a divorce, who gets the tags?
Wow.
You know, if a company owns the property, who gets the tags? If it's a corporation that's entirely like mother, father, son, daughter, who gets the tags? Things like that. It's just been really interesting to see them trying to figure that mess out because of, and it wouldn't be a mess if somewhere along the way somebody didn't feel like they didn't get their tag. And it has been an ongoing thing that I've found interesting. The mess that people can get in over something like that. They're doing their best to give out as many landowner tags as they can, but then when you get these different, especially when companies are involved, you know, a lot of the larger landholders in Nevada are mining companies, you know, things like that. Who gets the tag? And you wouldn't think that mining companies' property could be damaged by deer or elk, but it can.
Oh, for sure.
It sure can, especially when they fall in their tailings ponds or whatever. Or they eat the water lines, things like that. So anyway, that I just wanted to comment on it. It's one of the more interesting things you can see
Something I'll think of.
at those meetings, yeah. Any further discussion on item 9? Now that I've talked to on the,
No, but on item 9A, I think that for those that are going to the committee, or to the commission meeting, this is on the ability to sell, for the, I believe, right, to sell, tag holders information, is that one?
that's it.
Yeah. So I mean, you see what they did there. I gotta say, I'm in full support of that. I think that we should, we should have the ability to take our information off the lists or whatever. And if you want to stay on there, you don't have to do anything, but if you want to opt out, you certainly can. I think this is a step in the right direction for the commission, and I would support that. I don't know if we need a formal action for that, but I don't know how the rest of the board feels, but I absolutely support that.
There's been a huge amount of talk too on that because of youth hunters information being sold and things like that.
Yeah.
It was now going over to the new system, there's always hiccups, What I was truly impressed by with these guys with our new system, though, how fast they can correct things.
Yep.
It's, they seem to have it down on that end, and they seem to. Another thing about this new company that's doing our data technology part, if we don't sell tags, they don't get paid. There is no base rate. They don't have, like, we have to pay them $100,000 if they don't sell a single tag. If they don't sell a tag, they don't get paid.
Yeah.
So they're much more interested in making the system perfect. And I've been really impressed with the system. The only thing that is a little lacking is the fact that people want to be able to go and watch a draw. Well, it's done by a server that's in Texas. If you want to sit there and watch a little black box, you can, but you're going to have to go to Texas to do it. So,
yeah. I think even the proposal of when they're going to have results out and stuff, man, they're Johnny on the spot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's faster than it's ever been for people. We end the application period. 2 weeks later, they're drawing tags, right? And within 48 hours, we got results. So, I couldn't be more pleased with them. I know Department of Wildlife and state purchasing worked hard on that contract. It was a fairly sizable RFP. Jeff Haig and his group from purchasing, and as well as the folks from NDOW that participated in that, man, they were fantastic, and they negotiated a great contract, I think. And of course, any contract like that size, with that many moving components, is going to have issues, right? But I think they did a great job, and they continue, like you say, if there's a problem, that's what we want to see, right? Is that they take care of the problem, that is done timely, that has the least amount of impact on the public as possible, and this group, they do that. So
yeah, I was extremely impressed with some of the statistics they were able to come up with. One of the neat ones we have never had before, and it shows a generational issue. The first night of the draw, from 12 o'clock till like, I think 1 o'clock the next day, the vast majority of people hitting refresh every 20 seconds were the 16 to 24-year-old age group. Where one of the commissioners commented on the meeting, he was really mad because his brother called him at 2 o'clock in the morning to ask if he got it. He said, learn to use your computer like everybody else. But he said that refresh button was being hit by that 16 to 24-year-old age group. And
that's great.
yeah, we didn't have the ability before to even look at statistics like that. So, okay, we'll move on. Item number 9, non-regulatory. There is no vote needed on that. And I will pass some of that information on to them, not necessarily. By the way, Tiffany East is our closest commissioner over here, and I'll throw this in right now before we get to anything else, over in Washoe County. And she's been very, very supportive of the Tri-County issues that we've been doing. And our last meeting was canceled because nobody could be there, including myself. It was
Including her, too.
including her. And I think, are you guys getting those emails?
The Tri-County email stuff?
No.
Okay, well, I want to encourage us to all, now, no more than 2 of us can go to a meeting at a time, because we break our open meeting rules. So we need to coordinate it if we go, either that or set a table across the room or something and don't say anything. But it's very interesting to work with Washoe and Douglas County on some of these issues, and just hear the different problems we have up and down this side of our state. So I want to encourage you guys to try and, we can, I know Rob probably won't make any until July or August, because he doesn't work in a job that allows him to have a life for the next 6 months. You're similar to that, aren't you?
And I get 3 days off a week.
Oh, okay. So anyway, I want to encourage all of us to be involved in that, so they know us, at least know us. And Tiffany is great to work with, just terrific.
Yeah, I believe she's heading up the legislative committee this year.
Is she?
Yeah, so, I'll be kind of keeping an eye on that as well. There's just so you guys know, there's a legislative agenda that the department keeps, all the bills that they're watching. It's kind of a watch list,
Mhm.
And so, you may want to, starting this next meeting, we will have that published, and you may want to keep an eye on that. And I'll try to do my best to come keep an eye on about 4 different agencies. So I'll try my best to keep an eye on stuff and bring anything to your guys' attention. And so that, if you need to go and give testimony on something, we certainly can, so. Okay.
How do we get on that email group for the Tri-County?
So you can go into Nellis through the LC.
No, the Tri-County.
Oh.
I will give them your email.
Okay.
I will let them know, because I'm drawing a blank on his name down here in Douglas County.
Yeah, Bob Rittenhouse.
Bob Rittenhouse pulls them together. Great guy, casual, just easygoing, good old boy type guy. And most of the time, they're over here at the round table, because it's right in the middle.
Yeah, we have lunch,
Yeah.
so it's kind of fun.
Well, that was one of the things they're changing. They're doing them at six now, because that more,
Oh, okay.
very few.
Yeah, could get off
are
during the-
retired like. And Bob, because I remember one meeting, we had our Tri-County meeting, and there's me and Bob. But everybody else had a job. Anyway, moving on to item number 10. This is discussion for possible action regarding advisory board member commitments to the January 25th and 26th Wildlife Commission meeting in Reno, and the March 15th and 16th Wildlife Commission meeting in Clark County. Clark County is, as you know, is Las Vegas or Henderson for the most part. I'm definitely going this Friday and Saturday.
Are any of you guys gonna be able to go that?
I won't be able to make, I have to work.
Okay?
And then I won't be able to make the one in March either. We have our mule deer banquet here,
Okay, yeah,
so.
okay.
I work also Friday and Saturday, so I'm gonna try to catch them in the morning, and then,
Okay.
and then go to work, and then that week of March, I'll actually be in Death Valley from the 15th to the 16th.
Well, that's not far.
It's far, yeah, I don't think my wife would appreciate it though.
Okay, I may, now I'm really big, I love going to the smaller county meetings, I really do. We are allowed to appoint somebody, and I may get Gil to go to the one in Las Vegas.
Well, see if he can, and
And if he can.
I can do the March one if he can't. It's just tough for me, because if we'll be right in the middle of session.
I'll talk to Gil tomorrow then and find out.
I have it open right now, so if he can't do it,
I'll let you know as soon as
let me
I-
know, and I'll plan on attending in
And
Vegas.
if the sky fell or something, I could change, I could go if I had to. Don't want to, but I can if I have to.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, let's see if Gil would be able to represent the board for us, and if he can, he likes to go down there and do that, so
He does.
if he can,
And he's in an unusual situation. He's not on the board anymore, but he still is part of their financial advisors.
Yeah, he
And
is.
So he's in an unusual spot, but, and he's
Yeah.
spoken knowledge on past history, because he was on the board for 140 years. Or 15, wasn't it? 15
Yeah,
years?
oh, I think, yeah, it
Yeah.
might be even more than that, but anyway.
Before they had the term limit issues, he was
Wow.
the guy when he was young. Okay, so moving on, I'll be going on Friday and Saturday.
And you're good on that, if you don't need me to be with you?
No.
I mean, I could do Friday, Saturday, I'm teaching a range safety officer course.
Okay,
Not
no,
that day.
I'm good. Item number 10, future agenda items.
11?
Or 11, excuse me. I was crossing out 10 and looking at 11. Next agenda, we will have on there the
Elections.
elections for chair. So decide what you guys.
Vice chair.
And vice chair. That's right, that's why it's elections. So give that some thought, guys, see what you want to do.
So can I just ask, does anybody have an appetite to serve in either of those capacities?
Not at this time.
Yeah.
Okay, so, you know, given my situation, I would support, I'm just throwing it out there, we will take action on this next week, and we'll ask Kurt about it as well, but I would support just keeping Gene on as the chair if you're willing to do it. I'm prepared to make a motion to do that. And if one of you guys want to serve as vice chair, great. If not, I will continue to serve as vice chair as well. So anyway, throwing it out there, we won't take action now because it's not agendized, but next month I'll be prepared to make that unless one of you tell me otherwise. So.
Yeah, I think that we're so new to the whole process of it all and still really just trying to grasp the concept of the committee itself. That'd be way too early to change the leadership as it stands now.
Rob, it's just between him and Gil, I just this has been a very, very easy job for me to do. Only made one mistake, major mistake.
Yeah.
Yelled at for that. But
I did too when I served as chair too. So.
It's all about the procedure.
No, it wasn't. Dan was great. He mainly got on another committee chairman more than he got on me, but.
And you learn, it
You
doesn't
do.
take
It's
long to
just
learn
little mistakes.
which public members to talk to too.
Yeah.
Some of them you don't want to.
So, I'm really surprised that we didn't have any public here, to be honest with you. I'm really, really, especially given the fact that we're talking about bears or anything, seasons,
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that, you know, so. The only other future agenda item that I wanted to bring up was, darn it, I just drew a blank. Oh, well, it must not have been that important. I'll think of it and we'll bring it up the next time.
Okay.
Just email Kathy and the chair. If you think of it before March.
Okay, I will, we got plenty of time to do that. So we just need if you can make note to Kathy to make sure that she puts the elections on the agenda. Perfect, that'd be great.
Okay.
And the chair will know to discuss it with her too.
So our next meeting then would be what, March 11th? Is that correct?
Yes.
Or 12th. We
Which
do
one's
Mondays and
Monday?
Tuesdays.
Mondays.
Mondays is our meeting day normally.
Yeah, the only reason we didn't have it Monday this time
Because
was
of the holiday.
just because of the holiday.
Copy.
And we got bumped into this room, but I don't think they were even using the Sierra room, were they?
No, the Sierra room is being renovated right now.
Oh, is that what the deal is?
Yeah,
Oh,
there's a
okay.
technology renovation going on.
Oh.
So, all right, you guys will let us know what room and where location
So
we're gonna
I'm
be.
looking at the map, at the meeting schedule. It's not 100% complete, but I'm bringing it up as we speak. So we're talking March here. March 11th?
Mm-hmm.
We have Culture and Tourism and Cultural Commission.
In the Sierra Room?
Okay.
We'll do it here.
You guys may have to.
Or,
I'm stuck because I cover both of you. I cover Culture and
Oh,
Commission.
okay,
So Mary might be here for me.
okay.
or is Tuesday a better day?
I thought we had talked that, asked if we could consider going to Tuesdays. On my first meeting here, based on.
So
my
far,
days
it's
off.
looking good.
Let's shoot for Tuesday if we can then. Are you all right, Paul? Gene?
This is just something I figured out.
Either way, I'm good either way, it don't matter, I mean, make it work.
I will try
Yes,
to
I'm
book
good
that
on
one right
Tuesday.
away.
Yeah, 4:30?
4:30?
You guys good with that?
Four?
Yep.
Okay.
Or do we do it, we did it at 4:30 this time, but,
Okay, we
I think,
normally-
I think the later the better, I think, for to get the public here, because it's closer to off times. That doesn't impact anything.
And normally I'm off at 4 or.
oh, that's right. So we did do 4:30, yeah, okay.
Let's do them at 4:30.
Okay, I'm good.
I'll try and book the room.
Okay.
Coffee cafe. Just in case. Yeah, actually, that would work out great for me because that won't overlap with Cultural Commission and prison. To be both places.
You're already wearing your hands out.
That was pure stupidity.
Oh, was
I,
it?
I took a toboggan ride without a toboggan on my sidewalk.
Oh. Okay, well, we won't need a demonstration. Okay, public comment. We're open to the public, no public. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved?
Second that.
A second? All in
Don't
favor?
Need a second.
Yeah.
You can just.
All in favor, say aye, and we're out of here.
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.